getting you ready for Syracuse and Texas Tech tonight. For those of you on Cuse Sports Talk, we've dimmed the lights and turned on the Labatt sign for full vibes, full pregame vibes, getting you ready for Game 2 of this tournament down in Brooklyn today. The Orange coming in off the 70-66, come from behind, took the lead, but ended up with not quite enough down the stretch, loss to Texas yesterday. Texas Tech, who I think would have been favored to win this thing coming in. The metrics said they were the best team. St. Joe's, a hot shooting day yesterday, built a 16-point lead, and much like Texas did against the Orange, held on down the stretch to beat Texas Tech 78-77. So we get Cuse and Texas Tech tonight, third all-time meeting between the schools. But as we get into this game here tonight, let's look back at the game yesterday. Let's first look back at the game yesterday and do so with just a little bit from Red Autry from last night. Obviously, fell behind early. Don't want to fall behind early. Came back, which was good. Coming back, good, but not enough. This team, for their head coach, they got to figure out a way to close these things out.
We had a chance to win the game, and we didn't, and that's on us. That's on me. Turnovers at the end and missed rebounds, what we talked about. We didn't get those done at the end, and free throws. We battled back, and this is frustrating, and I'm tired of it. It's just disappointing right from the beginning of the year. We have an expectation. We have a standard for ourselves, and we haven't played that way yet. Thought the second half today, it was finally, the defense was good. We held them to 29 points. That's good. But we got to finish the game out. And we just got to learn how to win, and, we don't know how to win yet.
We saw yesterday that, which is ironic, they've won 3 close games to start, though not necessarily games you wanted to be close coming in. You lose a close game yesterday, took the lead a couple of times late, had the lead with about 3 minutes to go, and then it gets away down the stretch. But it's one of these things that you're not sure how it's going. Hang on. We got to, We have a potential, I've got to stop in mid-sentence for a potential, and an early Harding and Mazzati injury report today. One second. Hang on. 1 second. Important things. We need the right sounds to make this proper. Here we go. Down the hall and around the corner on TK99, where their pregame coverage started about half an hour ago. Matt Park just said that Eddie Lampkin, and I was wondering about this because clearly last night, back issues. We wondered about this. Back-to-back. He played 33 minutes last night. It's not about the 33 minutes. The 7 minutes he didn't play, he didn't sit down. He was always standing behind or next to the bench. Matt Park reporting Lampkin is questionable for tonight. The likeliness of him playing is not increasing as we get closer to tip. Ew, that's not good. That's not good. Lampkin was outstanding last night. If Eddie can't go tonight, oh, doggy. That's not good. That's not good news. That is, what's the word? That is bad news. That is bad news. Bad news. It's not official yet, but that's the thing. I wonder this. So we played 33 minutes last night. Obviously, Lampkin is not, necessarily the most fit of all time. Not that he's a slob or anything, but he's been chugging up and down the court a little bit. He's played with this back brace thing on. He doesn't sit down during timeouts. Sit down with the back thing, it can tighten up. Yeah. So, again, speculation here, but that's from Matt over on TK99 just moments ago, that Lampkin's status for tonight is officially way up in the air. And anyone that's got a bad back knows that you never quite know. You never quite know when that's going to go. So there we are, Harding and Mazzati injury report. That would be like, holy crap, alert the authorities, bad news. Because you talk about, and we've talked about this all season long, what's the identity of this team? What should the identity of this team be? How's it developing? I think part of it is the identity needs to be the attacking of J.J. Starling. But we saw last night in the second half, what's the identity of this team? Where's the emotion coming from? Where's the uniqueness coming from? What does this team have that is tough for others to counter? Last night in the second half, when the Arch dug out of a 16-point hole, the answer to almost all of those questions was Eddie Lampkin. You can question his defense, and rightly so. Those defense in the second half was the best I've seen it so far in now 4 games. So Eddie Lampkin officially questionable for the game tonight. You never know. Back thing. He could play tonight. This could all be, water under the bridge by 7 o'clock. But something we'll be doing our best to monitor over the course of our time together tonight. The status of one Eddie Lampkin as we work our way closer to tip time tonight. So we'll be tracking our sources from down in the Barclays Center as best as we can tonight to RE the Lampkin health situation. Because, all right, say he doesn't play. Say he doesn't play. Then what? We saw the first action of Naheem, the Big Duke, McLeod last game. He played 4 minutes. I thought he did all right. A couple of fouls, but he was doing some things. Blocked a shot, made a decent basket in the game. But he played 4 minutes. So you've got Donnie Freeman. I'm sure Donnie would play some center. Yeah. So it's not great. Nothing is ideal there. Add in the fact that Jacob Toppin, he's not like the tallest guy, but this dude is a load inside. He's averaging 20 and 12 right now. Yesterday he had 22 points and 18 rebounds. So if Lampkin's not in there, there we go. I'd imagine you see more Freeman playing the 5. You'd obviously have to see more of the Big Duke. Maybe Jair Davis, man, some of the time in the middle. Again, we don't know that Eddie Lampkin is out, but it's starting to come out from down in New York that the possibility of Lampkin not playing tonight is seemingly increasing by the minute. Chance Westry is the answer. Chance Westry is always the answer. Chance Westry available tonight, as always. There we are. And unexpected, well, I'd say not unexpected. It was something I was wondering about earlier today. We hadn't heard anything. But based on Lampkin's kind of ongoing back issues, back-to-back game, all that stuff, you just never know. And here we are. We'll see if they can, if trainer Mike Mangano and Lampkin, you never know. It could loosen up here in the next 30 minutes. You never know. Backs they are the great mystery. Lampkin last night, he had 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. And, the show ran through him. What they were doing ran through the idea of Eddie Lampkin when they came back from 16 down last night. So without him, that's a problem. There's a reason, I'd say, for all his deficiencies on defense and all this stuff and everything we've beaten to death about Lampkin so far this season, there's a reason Syracuse went out and got him in the portal. They knew they wanted a big center. And they haven't had it in a while. They knew they wanted a center that could do something at the offensive end. So you remove that from the equation. If that is the case tonight, they don't have anything that, 1-for-1 replaces that. So something to keep an eye on as we look ahead to the game tonight. So great, there we are. There's some fun news to brighten your evening here. Less than an hour away from the opening tip. Anywho, back to last night's game. What else did Red have to say after the game? Well, this could be apropos. If Lampkin is not to play, who do you need to get more from? That Donnie Freeman fellow.
I thought Donnie did a good job of finishing around the basket. I think that's the biggest thing that he's done is finish around the basket. But still, it's a lot more to go. I would say that's the only thing that I've really seen right now. Still a work in progress. Again, he's a talented young man, one of the more talented young guys we've had in a while. And he's productive. He makes things happen. But it's two ends. And we got to keep getting better on the other end of the floor. And that's just for our whole team. It's not just him. Our whole team.
All right, so speaking of the whole team getting better on defense, the whole team did get better on defense, at least in the second half last night.
I think it was the first time that we really locked in and played defense, and I thought that was the difference in the second half. Defensively, I thought we did a really good job of in our man-to-man defense. I think man defense, towards the end was really good. We just, again, those 2 rebounds, but, again, we got to do it again. We got to come out. We know we can do it. We know we can play defense. We know we can be a better team. We know this, and it's we just don't have time. We're playing against good teams every night. It's no off night, so we got to continue to get better on that. But it was a step in the right direction that they can see that they can do it and how much effort it takes, and just to stay disciplined and locked in that it can be done.
All right, so that is red on the defense, and proof of concept last night, right? They played good defense after halftime. I'd say a lot of that. Well, I mean, it was multiple things. You look at Lucas Taylor did very well defensively in the second half. We're still waiting for anything offensively from him as they put him on Texas's best player. And then I thought realistically the biggest change after halftime was Lampkin. He was moving well. I haven't seen him move that well on defense. He's still not a vertical threat nor a rim protector, but he did more stuff on defense in the second half of last night's game than he had done in the first 7 halves of the season, and now potentially unavailable tonight. What else do we have from Red from last night post-game? Speaking of defense, here is Red. We saw, certainly in the first half, we saw some zone.
We work on it. Texas is an explosive team. We just wanted to give them some different looks, especially in transition. I thought our transition defense was probably the best it's been all year. I'm not against the zone. That's not what this is about. But we worked at it. It looked good. I thought this would be a good game for it. Again, I'm going to do whatever it takes to give us the best chance to win. I thought the zone was part of the game plan to help us win.
All right. So if there's a scenario with no Eddie Lampkin tonight, or there's a scenario where Lampkin is playing but is reduced tonight, or there's a scenario where he's playing and his minutes are reduced tonight, Naheem McLeod, who played for the first time of this season last night, friend of the show, the Big Duke, 7'4". If he were to play more tonight, he is certainly more suited for zone than he is for man. He is not necessarily a great man defender. Certainly when he gets dragged out and put in the pick and roll, he's not laterally quick enough to deal with that. So I would imagine, again, speculation here, if Lampkin can't go tonight, and thus there is more Naheem McLeod, my guess is, even though Syracuse rallied last night more in the man than the zone was more in the first half than the second half, my guess is that we would see more zone just due to available personnel. If Donnie Freeman's got to play some center, I don't really know what they'd be doing. Probably man, because, I can't imagine how much zone they would have practiced with Freeman in the middle. No idea. So that would be lots of things to keep an eye on tonight. How about Red on the offense early in the game last night?
We've been down 9 couple of games this year early, and so again, we just kept our composure. We had great shots, great looks, right in the beginning. We missed them, and we still not shooting the ball the way we know we can shoot the ball, but they were all good shots. And typically, when you're getting good shots, it allows you to kind of stay confident, It wasn't like we got bad shots. We drove in there a couple of times because we wanted to put pressure on the rim, and, we didn't get the call, but that happens. But I like the way we were getting shots. I like our aggressiveness, and I kept telling the guys, hey, those shots are going to start falling. Obviously, we stayed with it. We switched up some defenses, got a couple of stops, and we got out and got a couple of easy ones in transition, and that's what we needed, and I thought that kind of got us going.
All right. A couple of specific points in the game. One big play late in the game. You remember this. Orange had the ball, baseline out of bounds. Chris Bell cutting, in theory, to the corner. Pass from Jaquan Carlos, and Chris Bell stopped before he got to that place on the court.
I didn't get a good look at it. It looked like he was wide open. I don't know what happened. Seemed like he might have stopped. He didn't kind of move to the ball. We got to complete that. Whether it's a shot or not, we can't turn it over down there. Again, we had critical turnovers. We had 11, but, man, it was all at the wrong time. And we can't do that. That's just unacceptable. But I thought, from my view, it looked like someone deflected it. But when I talked to all the other coaches, they said he was wide open.
Yeah, they showed the replay. Jay Williams was beside himself on the TV call last night. He demanded to show the replay a few more times, and Bell, he stopped. Carlos, clearly, you could tell in the look on his face, he didn't expect him to stop. Now, who was in the right, who was in the wrong there, you never completely know, but it felt like that's a play where he's going to the corner. Jay Williams was certain he was going to get a 3 off. Now, Bell has struggled shooting thus far this year. Would it have gone in or not? But, man, you get that corner 3 off, decent look. You feel good about that. Just not a great time. As Red said, 11 turnovers isn't a lot. It's not a little, but it's not a lot. But Syracuse has been a very good team, one of their best statistical thing so far this season is lack of turnovers. They've been very good at that. So 11 wasn't a lot, but to Red's point, man, it just felt like they were all at the worst times last night. They were all at the worst times, and then there's never a good time to not make your free throws.
We got to make them, and we're not. We're leaving so many points on the board. Even in our first couple of games, we still miss free throws, and that's the difference. Again, we're offensively we haven't played well all year yet. We just haven't. Defensively tonight was a step in the right direction. But free throws is something that we have to make them. It's not an excuse for that. And that was the game. If you look at right now for 9 for 18, that's just too many misses. We have to make those. We work at them. We just got to continually work at them.
The simplest thing in the game, right, can sometimes be the hardest. The free throws, perhaps more than anything, cost Syracuse the ball game last night. A little look back at last night as we continue to monitor the status of one Eddie Lampkin's potential availability now in question for tonight, part of our Harding and Mazzati injury report this evening. All right, we'll take a break. Phone line's open if you'd like to join here at 301-547-7644. A bit of an abbreviated pregame show tonight as we make way for the Syracuse Crunch at 6:45 for their game tonight. Tim Leonard, Cuse Sports Talk exclusively after the game with the postgame coverage there. You'll hear from Red, your calls, all the normal postgame stuff. Just Cuse Sports Talk exclusively tonight on Twitch and on the YouTube. We'll take a break. Your calls when we come back if you'd like. We'll hear a little bit from Kevin Brown to join me on my show yesterday. He's got the call of the game on TV. Get his thoughts from yesterday on the Texas Tech team that Syracuse will be dealing with tonight. And we'll dive into the series history between these two, which is brief, but randomly kind of interesting. All that and more after this on Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
Don't miss the
Is that bad, CBW? It doesn't sound good. All right, have I fixed the log here? I should have looked at this before. Got this to that. Where are we? Segment 3. And there's that. 30. Minute 30. 2:30. 2:45. 3:15. 3:30. 4:30. 4:30. Don't mind me, just mathing out loud. Not a good orange standard anyway, LA Orange. I tell you, this new dimmer switch for the Labatt sign, it makes all the difference in the world. Now we're properly vibing here. Now we are living the proper vibes. Much better. We're no longer on the face of the Labatt sun. All right. Anybody else on the Twitter about Eddie Lampkin? Gonna help if I spell his name right. Apparently Matt said something about it on pregame down the hall on TK, Mike. He may know things that others don't. Oh, yeah, we're vibing, Jen. I don't see anything on Twitter. Nothing from Waters. Mike told me that Matt said it on TK. And get me a driver, too, LA Orange. We could really make it happen. Matt stated he is off the bike he was riding to stay warm and is now going to give it a go. From Mike. Ho-ho! Updates as available. The funny thing, LA Orange, is it's really not that late, but it is pitch black outside, so we can go full vibes in here. Maybe I'll just start doing all the shows lit like this. Yeah, Mike, you need to anchor that zone, though. Can you get out to the quarter 3? I mean, in theory, getting there for the game would be probably preferred, but I don't know. Maybe you can get somebody to cause a distraction and delay the game. Oh, the quarter 3? Well, in theory, the goal would be to get there before they shoot it. You need a hand-high contest. Hand-high contest. You got to get hand-high. Yeah, just, good sir, can you kindly hang on? All right, rolling along here on this. It's Friday. It's game night. Every day's game night around here these days. Football, basketball. Oh, there's games upon games upon games. We got UConn on the gridiron tomorrow. Texas Tech on the hardwood tonight. 315-437-7644 if you'd like to chime in this evening. This just in from Matt Park down in Brooklyn to courtside at Barclays Center. The most recent update is Eddie Lampkin, back issue, riding the bike, trying to stay loose. Apparently he's now gotten off the bike. He's going to try to give it a go, people. He's going to try to give it a go. We got 40 minutes till tip time tonight. Either way, he's clearly not feeling right. You never know with the back, right? Like you get out there, you loosen it up, you get a little sweat going. Maybe it loosens up. Maybe he can do what he did last night. But I think that may be a lot to ask here. Back-to-back, no pun. Huge game yesterday with 14-6-5. Kicked it up on defense in the second half. Your back's bothering you. Like, can you be that guy again? Can you be that guy tonight? I don't know. We'll have to see. It is certainly now the biggest question mark going into tonight. What does it mean for Naheem, the Big Duke McLeod tonight? What does it mean for playing man versus playing zone? What does it mean for who's next up? Is it Donnie Freeman? Is Jair Davis guarding some of the bigs due to his kind of, old man strength inside? Lots of questions to consider as we look at the potential availability, lack thereof, or somewhere in the middle for Eddie Lampkin here tonight. All right, I want to bring this to you. We talked to our guy, KB, Kevin Brown, on the show yesterday, who will once again be on the call tonight on your television. I believe ESPNU is the channel tonight. I have no idea if there's a game before it that will necessitate you learning of other television channels or sources. That I don't know. I do know this. Kevin told us yesterday what he knows about Texas Tech.
Yeah, I think Texas Tech is really good, Brian, and I think that. I don't know it because they have not played anybody.
Right.
I mean, you talk about Syracuse hasn't played anybody. Texas Tech's hardest game was against Wyoming. No disrespect to Wyoming, but they're not currently what you'd call a somebody in the college basketball space.
Mm-hmm.
So Texas Tech, look, they're top 15 in the nation in scoring and three-point shooting. Their head coach is Grant McCaslin, who was at North Texas and played a very slow pace. Virginia has tempo. Now, he's a chameleon. This is a high-flying team. It's a Texas Tech team that's like a top 10, top 15 team in the computers because of the way they've blown out opponents. They're not ranked in the top 25 right now. I think they will end up in the top 15 pretty soon. I think they're maybe not a Big 12 title contender, but to me, they're in that 3 to 6 range in the Big 12, which is the best league in college basketball. So incredible depth, incredible athletes, great shooting team. That's the thing that separates them from the rest of this field.
I don't know if the top 15 is coming soon now after the loss yesterday. Phones, by the way, available at 315-437-7644 if you'd like to chime in here in the next few minutes for ESPN 44. Let's do a little on Texas Tech here. Do you want to know a little bit on Texas Tech? They got a couple of shooters to watch out for in Chance McMillan and Darian Williams. They can both get it going from the outside. JT Toppin's their best guy. He's averaging like 20 points and 12 rebounds a game. He had 22 points and 18 rebounds in their loss to St. Joe's yesterday. So worth keeping an eye on him throughout tonight for sure. So that is something that we'll have to keep an eye on with those two. So they got an inside-outside situation that'll be worth dealing with tonight. All right, let's get a phone call in here before we hit the break, and we'll bring in Drew from New Hartford. Hey, Drew, what's up?
Hi, and I'm happy that I got a hold of you, man. How are you?
You good? How are you?
So, I want to know if you agree with me on this. We're playing Texas Tech tonight. They're not even ranked. We're an 11.5-point underdog.
Yep.
Doesn't that really put into perspective the state of this basketball program, where we're a double-digit dog on a neutral site against an average to below average Big 12 team? What's happened to us?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, well, a second day in a row. I mean, Texas wasn't ranked either. Now, I think people think Texas Tech, like, you look at both these teams, in theory, they're both tournament type teams. But, yeah, Drew, you don't want it to be the case, even though it's neutral site, but it's in New York. So, yeah, it stinks. It's not great.
Right, Brian, can I ask you a question off of that?
Yeah.
What would they have to do for you to say the program is back? They are now in position to be a legitimate, relevant college basketball team again.
I mean, it's wins, man. You got to be in the tournament, man. Like, you got to be in the tournament. That's what it is. Like, well, I'd say once you're back in the tournament on the regular, you're in the conversation, and then we see what happens in the tournament. But until you got to be back in the tournament, every or most every year, and then you're in the club, right? You're in the group, and then hopefully you start winning the games. But yeah, I'd say this day you're in the tournament. That means you're in the mix, and you're in the group that's worth talking about.
So just out of curiosity, give me a ballpark number. Give me a percentage chance you think they actually make it this year.
I'd say tonight's kind of important. Like, you got to win games like this.
You're an 11.5-point dog, though. I mean, you're not going to win, probably.
I mean, probably. They were a 10.5-point dog last night. They had the lead with 3 minutes to go. I mean, we'll see what happens tonight. But, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's great right now. 33%? I don't know. It's hard to tell. We've seen signs from this team, but you got to win games. Like, you got to win games like this to have a shot later this year. I'd say a game like this tonight, Drew, legitimately affects percentages of things like that as the year goes along.
Yeah, I want to get excited and optimistic about things, and I want to give Red a chance. But we're in year 2. We got picked to finish near the bottom of the conference, and it's just signs like this where neutral observers, odds makers, think we're that much worse than the team we're playing. I don't know, man. It doesn't make me feel good about the future of the team, that's all.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make you feel good about the present anyway, because they're identifying tonight for sure. All right, Drew, we got to hit it. We got to get a break in, but thanks for the call. There's Drew in New Hartford. We'll get this break in. Got to be on time for the crunch. We'll be back right after this. Final thoughts of our pregame show next year on Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
Tomorrow.
Oh, I had to pick a random number out of thin air there, L.A. Arch. I don't know. Yeah, the odds makers have no opinion of Syracuse basketball. They're just cranking the numbers. They have a 50% chance. They will either make it or they won't. How's that? You like that one? Oh, yeah, I'd say being an 11.5-point underdog tonight does not really influence my thinking about the big picture future of Syracuse basketball. I don't think those two things are really related. I'd say also last year, at about this time, Syracuse had a record projection that was similar to that, and then they won 20 games. So projecting that stuff this early is tricky. But you win a game like this, it really changes those projections. Like, what can Syracuse, like the Tennessee game is going to be hard. Like, can you win this game? You gotta beat Georgetown at home. Can you beat Maryland? They won 20 games, CBW. It's just, that's tiring. They played the game, they won the game. Whatever. They still won way more than they were projected to win. Yeah, they were not ranked coming into that season, though they were way closer to being ranked than they are now. Look, it's Mike. That's right. He made it. Check and set it to maybe, I don't know if they're on that. Which tie line are they normally on? Let's see what it's on. So I don't know if they're on a different tie line for, where's the patch? It's set to. Yeah, hang on. I got to put it to this room for. Oh, God. Ah! Incoming audio feeds. Let's do. Tally one. Line 2. Huh? That sounds more like Lucas. All right, so let's do outgoing audio. We need to change this to. Oh, we got to change timing. Production 1. Oh, come back. Talk back. This needs to go. All right, you should hear him now. Yep. I don't know if it's Faith LA Orange or just. Oh boy, that's the wrong game. Okay. Wrong game. All right, rolling along here on this, I don't know, what day is it? Friday! It's Friday! Getting you ready for Cuse and Texas Tech here tonight. Getting you ready for Cuse and Texas Tech here tonight. Let's get into this day in Syracuse basketball history, brought to you by the Shep Family Funeral Home. Celebrate your loved one with help from Shep Family Funeral Home. Visit shepfamily.com. These teams have played twice before. Rando, interesting history. But really tangentially. The games themselves, not as much. Has nothing to do with the games. Both games were not that close. The Orange lost by 13 in Denton, Texas in the NCAA tournament to Texas Tech back in 1976. March 10th. It was a Wednesday. March 10th, 1976, lost to Texas Tech in the tournament. That was Roy Danforth's last game before he voluntarily left and took the head coaching job at Tulane. Some guy named, what was his name? Jim Boeheim would get the job after that, and the rest, as they say, is history. The next time these two teams played, it was a preseason tournament, the 2K Classic in the Garden. So down in New York, they played Thursday, November 17th of 2005. Syracuse won that game, blew out a Bobby Knight Texas Tech team 81-46, which is, okay, whatever. Not really noteworthy. Lots of people that we've heard of scored a lot of points in that game. Or not a lot of points, but it was very balanced. Jerry had 12. D. Nick had 11. Louis McCroskey had 10. Devo off the bench, a freshman, he had 11. Very balanced scoring out for it was a blowout. Here's what's interesting. The next night, you know what happened the next night? Syracuse, for the title game in that tournament, they played Florida. And that Florida team, Syracuse lost. It was a good game. Syracuse lost 75-70. That Florida team, with this starting lineup, Torian Green, Corey Brewer, Lee Humphrey, Joakim Noah, Al Horford, they would go on to win the national title that year and the year after that. The Orange encountered them before we knew what that team was. So they blew out Texas Tech, and then they played Florida the next night in a good game. TV Teddy Valentine was wearing some stripes that night. And Florida would go on to win the Natty the next 2 years. Go figure. So just two random things. Like, played Texas Tech. What happened next? Danforth out. Jim Boeheim in. Next time they played Texas Tech. What happened next? Next night, they played Florida. Won 2 national championships. Tonight, they play Texas Tech. What could possibly happen next? I don't know. What could possibly happen next to this one? Man. After all that, like, what could happen next? It just feels like, okay. Al Horford's still playing in the NBA. Corey Brewer, he was a fantastic college player. He was fantastic in college. I loved college Corey Brewer. He was really good. Those other guys didn't stink either. What a fantastic. And then they all came back. They won the title, and they all came back. Can you imagine that? This day and age? That wasn't that long ago, right? Wasn't that long ago? It was long ago. They all came back, and they did it again. Gosh darn it, they did it again. All right, so what wacky future history is this Texas Tech game going to set off tonight? I don't know. Something must happen. What we don't know if it's going to happen tonight is this. We don't know if Eddie Lampkin is going to play. Or if he does, how much he's going to play. Back clearly bothering him. Everything we're hearing, warm-ups, on the bike, trying to stay loose. He was fantastic last night. If he can't go or be effective, I have a hard time seeing Syracuse winning this game tonight. Syracuse is 11.5-point underdogs. You wonder how much people just knowing about stuff like that is baked in. But if Lampkin can play tonight and can be what he was last night, which was 14 points, 6 boards, and 5 assists in 33 minutes in the loss to Texas, then I think he can have a game. You're going to need Starling. You're going to need Lampkin. You need Chris Bell to hit some shots. More than the 2 he hit from yesterday. He's got to hit a few. Can he have a 4 or 5 three-pointer game? He got good looks yesterday. He had a few that were in and out. But like what can you get? What can you get to that is going to be effective? What can you get to him that's going to be effective to making it in a way that like Syracuse has a chance to win this game tonight? Without Lampkin, like you're going to need like Donnie Freeman to all of a sudden be like, I am here. Yes, I am a top 10 recruit. And you need a big game out of Jair Davis. You need those two to both really, really play well, I think, to have a chance in this game tonight. So going to be interesting. I don't know. Texas Tech, I think, is the better team. That said, I thought Texas Tech would beat St. Joe's yesterday. I thought we were going to see Syracuse and St. Joe's. St. Joe's made a ton of threes, played really well yesterday. Texas Tech rallied from 16 down, but just couldn't take it at the end. So it'll be fascinating to see how it turns out tonight. But, man, like I say, if you come back home 0-2 with losses to Texas and Texas Tech and say you lose close like you lost last night, neither are bad losses. Yet, man, 0-2 and running out of chances for decent non-conference wins already. Because, yeah, you got Tennessee coming up. I think that's your hardest game on the non-con. You got Maryland down the line. Like you gotta, if you get this tonight, you're kind of holding serve here at this point of the season. So we'll see. Again, listen to the game on TK, our AM signal, ESPN 1200. Watch the game ESPNU tonight. Come back after the game. Cue Sports Talk only. Tim Leonard, post game. You'll hear from Red, your calls, all that good stuff. I'll be back with you football pregame tomorrow morning. Enjoy the game, everybody.
Cue Sports Talk.